when a police chief's son thinks he's above the law and assaults a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran in broad daylight. This arrogant man walked into Judge Frank Caprio's courtroom, believing his father's badge would protect him from any consequences. But when Judge Caprio made his father choose between his son and justice, what happened next became the most talked about moment in Providence courtroom history. The defendant stood there, smirking, as he told Judge Caprio, "My dad runs this town. You can't touch me, old man." The entire courtroom fell silent. But what nobody knew was that Police Chief Thomas Cole was sitting in the back of that courtroom, watching his son destroy everything he'd spent 35 years building. And the decision he was about to make would break hearts, restore faith in justice, and prove that some fathers love their principles more than protecting their children's mistakes. Before we dive into this incredible story, less than 5% of you watching are actually subscribed. If you believe in real justice, in honoring our veterans, and in holding the powerful accountable, hit that subscribe button right now. This story is going to spread everywhere, and you don't want to miss what happens next. It's a cold November morning in Providence Municipal Court, and Judge Frank Caprio is preparing for what seems like a routine assault case. At 76 years old, Judge Caprio has seen thousands of cases, but something about this one feels different. The victim is a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran named Robert Martinez. The defendant is 32-year-old Derek Cole, son of Providence Police Chief Thomas Cole. The case file tells a disturbing story. 3 days ago, Robert Martinez was walking his dog in Roger Williams Park when Derek Cole, driving his BMW at excessive speed, nearly hit him. When Martinez raised his hand to signal Derek to slow down, Derek stopped his car, got out, and confronted the elderly veteran. According to 3 separate witnesses, Derek shoved Martinez to the ground, causing him to hit his head on the pavement. When bystanders tried to intervene, Derek allegedly said, "Do you know who I am? My father is the police chief. Call the cops, I dare you." Then he drove away, leaving the 70-year-old veteran bleeding on the ground. Martinez suffered a concussion, 3 broken ribs, and a fractured wrist. He spent 2 nights in Rhode Island hospital. The incident was captured on a nearby security camera, and when the footage went viral on local news, the entire city of Providence demanded justice. The courtroom is packed this morning. Local reporters, concerned citizens, veteran advocacy groups, and court watchers who follow Judge Caprio's cases have all shown up. There's an energy in the room, a sense that something significant is about to happen. But here's what nobody in that courtroom knows yet. Police Chief Thomas Cole is sitting in the back row, wearing civilian clothes, his badge tucked away. He hasn't told his son he's here, and the reason he came will shock everyone. At exactly 10:30 a.m., the bailiff calls the case. The state of Rhode Island versus Derek Michael Cole, charged with assault and battery on an elderly person. Derek Cole walks in like he owns the place. He's wearing an expensive suit, designer watch glinting under the courtroom lights, and that smirk, that arrogant smirk that makes everyone in the gallery immediately dislike him. He doesn't look remorseful. He doesn't look concerned. He looks annoyed that he has to be here at all. Behind him enters his attorney, Marcus Richardson, one of Providence's most expensive defense lawyers, the kind who specializes in getting wealthy clients out of trouble. But here's the moment that catches everyone's attention. When Derek passes the row where Robert Martinez is sitting, wearing his Vietnam veteran cap and supporting his broken wrist in a cast, Derek doesn't even glance at him. No acknowledgement, no remorse, nothing. Judge Caprio looks up from his paperwork, and those kind eyes that have shown compassion to thousands suddenly turn ice cold. He's already read the case file, he's already seen the security footage, and he's already made up his mind that this young man is going to learn a lesson today. "Mr. Cole," Judge Caprio begins, his voice measured but firm. "You're charged with assault and battery on an elderly person, specifically on Mr. Robert Martinez, a 70-year-old Vietnam veteran. How do you plead?" Derek's attorney stands up quickly. "Your Honor, my client pleads not guilty. We believe this is a case of mistaken identity and—" Judge Caprio holds up his hand. "Counselor, I asked your client, not you. Mr. Cole, do you have a voice?" Derek stands up, and this is where his arrogance really shows. He adjusts his suit jacket, looks directly at Judge Caprio with that smirk still on his face, and says, "Not guilty, Your Honor. This whole thing is ridiculous. The word ridiculous hangs in the air like a slap. Judge Caprio slowly removes his glasses, his signature move when he's about to deliver a reality check. Ridiculous? Judge Caprio repeats. Mr. Cole, I've reviewed the security footage. I've read the hospital reports. I've seen the photographs of Mr. Martinez's injuries. Would you like to reconsider your characterization of this case as ridiculous? Derek glances at his lawyer, who's frantically trying to signal him to stay quiet, but Derek's ego won't let him back down. Your Honor, with all due respect, Derek says, and everyone in the courtroom knows that when someone starts with all due respect, disrespect is about to follow. This is being blown out of proportion. Some old guy got in my way, I barely touched him, and now I'm being dragged into court like a criminal. The gallery gasps. Did he just call a Vietnam veteran some old guy? Did he just say he barely touched him when the man spent 2 nights in the hospital? Judge Caprio sets down his glasses very carefully. His jaw tightens. For anyone who watches Caught in Providence, they know this look. This is Judge Caprio when his compassion has reached its limit and justice is about to be served. Mr. Cole, Judge Caprio says, his voice still calm but carrying the weight of absolute authority. Before we proceed, I want to understand something. Do you know who Mr. Martinez is? Derek shrugs. Some guy who was in my way? The disrespect is palpable. Robert Martinez, sitting in the gallery, shows no reaction. He sits with the quiet dignity that comes from a lifetime of service and sacrifice. But his fellow veterans in the courtroom are visibly angry. Judge Caprio stands up from his bench and walks around to the front. This is rare. This means something big is about to happen. Mr. Martinez, Judge Caprio says, looking directly at the elderly veteran, would you please stand and tell Mr. Cole who you are? Robert Martinez slowly stands, supporting himself with his good arm. Your Honor, my name is Robert Martinez. I served in the United States Marine Corps from 1968 to 1971. I did 2 tours in Vietnam. I was awarded the Purple Heart and the Bronze Star for valor. I'm a retired Providence firefighter. I've lived in this city for 50 years. And 3 days ago, this man, he gestures toward Derek without looking at him, assaulted me for no reason other than I asked him to slow down in a public park. The courtroom is absolutely silent. Judge Caprio nods respectfully to Martinez, who sits back down. Now, Judge Caprio turns back to Derek. Mr. Cole, do you understand what you just heard? You assaulted a decorated combat veteran, a man who risked his life for this country, a man who spent 30 years running into burning buildings to save people. And you called him some old guy who got in your way. Derek's smirk is starting to fade, but his arrogance hasn't. Your Honor, I didn't know he was a veteran. How was I supposed to know? Judge Caprio's response is immediate and devastating. Mr. Cole, it shouldn't matter if he's a veteran or not. Assault is assault. But the fact that you think it would only matter if you knew his service record tells me everything I need to know about your character. But, guys, before I tell you what Judge Caprio does next, I need you to do something. In the comments below, tell me, have you or someone you love ever been disrespected because of their age? Have you seen young people treat elders with contempt? Share your story, because this is about more than one case. This is about respect, dignity, and how we treat the people who came before us. Derek's attorney jumps in, trying to control the damage. Your Honor, my client is young and made a poor choice of words, but the evidence will show... Evidence? Judge Caprio interrupts. Counselor, I've seen the evidence. In fact, let's watch it together. He signals to the court clerk, who starts playing the security camera footage on the courtroom monitor. Everyone watches in silence as the video shows exactly what happened. Derek's BMW speeding through the park, nearly hitting Martinez, the veteran raising his hand, Derek slamming on his brakes, getting out of his car, and violently shoving the 70-year-old man to the ground. The footage is clear. The assault is undeniable. And Derek's actions afterward, standing over Martinez, pointing at him while shouting, then casually getting back in his car and driving away, it's damning. When the video ends, Judge Caprio looks at Derek. Still think this is ridiculous, Mr. Cole? Derek's face has gone pale. His lawyer is whispering urgently in his ear. But Derek's ego, that toxic combination of privilege and arrogance, won't let him back down completely. Your Honor, Derek says, his voice slightly shaky now, I was having a bad day. I'd just gotten some bad news. I wasn't thinking clearly. Judge Caprio's eyes narrow. A bad day? Mr. Cole, I've been on this bench for over 30 years. I've seen people who lost their jobs, lost their homes, lost their children, come before me. You know what they don't do? Assault elderly veterans because they're having a bad day. The judge walks closer to Derek, eliminating the physical distance between them. Let me tell you what I think happened, Mr. Cole. I think you've spent your entire life believing you're special. I think your father's position as police chief has shielded you from consequences. I think you've never been held accountable for your actions, and I think you walked into my courtroom today expecting that pattern to continue. Derek tries to interrupt, but Judge Caprio holds up his hand. I'm not finished. You see, Mr. Cole, I've dealt with people like you before. People who think their last name, their father's position, their family's money makes them untouchable. But here's what you're about to learn. In my courtroom, none of that matters. What matters is the law.